So now we're going from 1 step to 2 steps. So the first thing we have to do is draw a river. And so make sure your phones are completely away. This is a new lesson. And so remember, we let you listen to music and things like that when you're doing independent work, but we want to make sure you've got this lesson down, especially since this is the basis for what you're doing. So the first thing, when we see an equal sign, you're drawing your river. So draw a river when you see that equal sign. Does anyone not have the sheet, the half sheet that looks like this? Raise your hand so I can pass it out. Anybody else not have it? Cool. And so I teach in stories, right? So X just wants to be alone. X doesn't want his clingy girlfriend. 3 next to him, he doesn't want his friends. He just wants to be alone. So first, X needs to get rid of his friend. He keeps tagging along. That constant nag 1. And so to get rid of 1 and get him on the other side, I need to do the inverse. So what is the inverse of adding 1? The opposite. Subtract. So we're going to subtract 1 to get rid of that constant nag, that annoying friend. And so you end up getting 3x, because that crosses out, because that gets me 0. And what's 10 minus 1? 9. And so first thing, we're moving that constant nag, that annoying friend, out of the way. Then we see, okay, how do we get x by itself? How do we get rid of that 3? Divide it, right? So if they're together, they're so close, that 3 is a clingy girlfriend, right? You ever see those people in the hallway that can't even, they're linked arms, they're literally can't get away from each other, you have to pull them apart to get them to class? That's 3 and x. X just wants to be alone, right? And so to get them apart, I got to divide them apart, right? Here's Miss Kate dividing that 3 and x apart, which makes that cancel out. And so you end up getting x equals, and what's 9 divided by 30? 30. That's my answer. And so remember, we get rid of that constant nag first, then we get rid of the clingy girlfriend. To check my work, what could I do? I'm going to draw a line here. To check my work, just to make sure I'm right, I can plug it in, right, Brandon? Put that away. And so I'm writing the equation, but instead of x, I'm going to put in parentheses what I got for x, which is 3. Let's see if that makes sense. What is 3 times 3? Plus 1. Perfect. So we could see that 10 does equal 10. Here's me happy as a clam because I know I got it correct. Cool. Anyone have any questions about the first one? Cool. Second one. Second one looks a little confusing because we have a variable right here. And if you want to draw a line just so you don't get confused. We have a variable that has no coefficient. What's the invisible coefficient? 1. So put that invisible 1 right there. And now let's rewrite it so it looks a little bit better. So x is in the front. And don't forget, the signs are like lunch trays, right? You don't carry your lunch tray behind you. You carry your lunch tray in front of you. So let's rewrite this. So negative 1x, because that's its lunch tray, and 6 is positive, plus 6 equals 1. So we're going to rewrite it. If you could do it and figure it out without rewriting it, that's fine. But this makes it a little bit easier. Then I draw my river, and I need to get rid of that constant nag, that friend that keeps tagging along. Who is that constant friend, the nag? That's 6, right? And so to get rid of him, the opposite of adding 6 would be subtracting 6. So I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides of my equation. Because we need to get that friend away. So you should be writing these notes down as I'm writing them up for. So then that crosses out, and I get negative 1x. Don't drop that negative, because that's what a lot of times people do, gets me 14. Now we got that clingy girlfriend, negative 1. How do we get rid of her? What are we going to have to do with that? Divide them apart, right? We got to divide those two apart. So I'm going to divide and don't drop that negative by negative 1. when you do that, you end up getting x equals negative 14. And so the biggest mistake I see here too is you guys drop those negatives, which would make it incorrect. To check my work, what could I do? To check my work, what do I do? What do I say? Let's repeat. Plug it in, right? And so I can use the original equation. 6 minus, and instead of x, I'm going to put what I got, which is negative 14. And you're able to put it in your calculator just like that. When you do that, the answer should be 20. That's what it says right there. What's a negative and a negative make? Good. So I end up getting 6 plus 14 equals 20. Does 6 plus 14 equal 20? Yep. So here's me happy as a clam because I don't need to do it again. I got it right. And so if you put positive 14 in there, it would have been incorrect. Cool. Next one. So these are all different kinds. You can see we're not doing the same one a couple times. I'm showing you each kind of two-step equation. They're big. So then there's this one. And this one has the friend clung on to both of them, right? You know those people who are always trying to get into each other's business, right? Always trying to get between the couples? That's 4 right there, you see him? So we got to get rid of that one first. He's clung on to both of them for dear life. He's like holding on to them. I can't touch them until I get rid of 4. What does this line mean? Divide. So what's the opposite? Multiplication. So I'm going to multiply to get rid of that clingy 4 that's clung on to both of them. So when it looks like that, that's when you multiply first. By doing that, that gets rid of this 4. A lot of you guys start multiplying 4 to these. Don't do that. That just crosses this out. And so you end up getting x plus 3. And what's 4 times 2? 8. Now you can see it's just a one-step equation. Then what's the inverse of adding 3? Subtract 3. You end up getting x equals 5. And so we want to make sure you're getting used to, some people do it in their head, but get used to writing out the work. Because in 2 days we're doing multi-step and it's a lot of steps. You want to make sure you don't make a mistake. To check my work, what do I do? What do I do when I check my work? You start the P. Plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in. So all you do, you can put ND in your calculator. And every time I plug something in for x, I always put it in parentheses in my calculator. And so you always put this part into your calculator, but instead of x, we got x being 5. So what is 5 plus 3? 8 divided by 4. Which is 2. And we got that one right. All right, last one. Looks like this. So I got that constant nag. That constant nag is that 4. How do I get that 4 to the other side of my river when I draw my river right here? What's the inverse of subtracting 4? Adding 4. And so when you do that, I'm left with 2/5 x equals 6. So we always get rid of the constant first. Then, to get rid of a fraction being multiplied, I multiply by its what? Reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 2/5 is 5/2. your calculator 6 times, and that ND button on your calculator makes a fraction. So you could put 6 times 5/2. Or you can just solve it like this. 6 times 5 is 30. Divide it by 2, which you should get 15. How could you check your work to just make sure you're right? Plug it in, right? Because most of the tests that you guys are going to take, yeah, we care that you master it, but we also care that you're mastering test taking strategies. Because y'all are super smart, but maybe when we were originally taking tests like last semester, you just didn't check your work, you just did it. And so you want to make sure every time you have a test or quiz, you're plugging it back in. So in your calculator, you would write 2/5, which you can do using that ND button, and then parentheses, instead of x, I'm going to put 15 minus 4. When you get that, your answer should be 2, which it is. And so when you get it equal to 2, I know it's supposed to equal 2, so I know I got it right. And so do you need to do this for every single problem? You don't need to, but especially your tickets out the door and your quizzes and tests, you want to make sure that you're plugging in your answers. Cool. All right, so we're going to do 2 more problems. So you're going to this next sheet that looks like this. It's the same exact thing. And so this is 2-step equation. So first I need to figure out drawing my river. Then who can raise their hand for a brain buck and tell me what I would do first? Remember, you can get candy with brain bucks. Count the rest of your hand first. Add 8 to both sides. So that you get that constant nag, that friend, out of the way. And you end up getting 3x equals 18. Beautiful. Then who can tell me what I do next, Kamari? Yep, here's my clingy girlfriend 3. I got to divide her out to x by itself. When you do that, you get x equals 6. Beautiful. And then to check your work, plug it in, plug it in. So I could rewrite the original equation, but instead of x in my calculator, I'm going to put 6. You can put that in, or I can sit here and solve it. 3 times 6 is 18, minus 8 is 10, which I should get. Any questions on that? Cool. Last one, then you're going to have time to practice. I'm doing last 2. So you should know how to do this one, but we'll go over it anyways. First, I need to get that constant nag. The biggest mistake that I see, like 100% of my algebra second semester, we do them the second half of the day, they always multiply by 4 first. But I can't get rid of that 4 right here because it's not attached to both of them. I need to move the 10 over first. How would I move that 10 over? What's the inverse of subtracting 10? You can shout it out. What's the opposite of subtracting? Adding. Good. So we would add 10. Make sure a lot of people start multiplying by 4 first. And so that gets rid of this. And I get a over 4 equals, when I add this, I get negative 2. And so always put that in your calculator, negative 12 plus 10, to make sure you get the correct answer. Now, how do I get rid of that 4? What's the opposite of dividing by 4? Multiplying. And so when you do that, you get a equals negative 8. Cool. And to check it, we can plug it back in. When we do that, I get negative 2 minus 10, and it ends up getting it right. Last one. Now that 3 is clung on for dear life. I can't touch the z or the negative 4 until I get rid of that 3. How do I get rid of that 3? So I can't touch those two. What's the opposite of dividing by 3? Multiplying. So that's when we multiply first, only when we can't touch the other two. And don't multiply this by 3, that just gets rid of this. And so you end up getting negative 4z equals 30. Now how do I get rid of that clingy girlfriend negative 4? Divide it, right? And when you do that, in your calculator, put ND and put 30 and on the bottom negative 4. We always usually want to keep these as fractions because that's how it's going to be in your. Yeah, so if you click ND, do 30, you end up getting negative 15 over 2. Just don't forget the negative. Yep, or negative 7. And to check your work, you can plug it in. Cool. So what you're doing today for practice is the rest of the worksheet under the ticket in the door, or the do now. So you're doing that rest of that for practice and show your work. So when we're checking for a classwork grade, if we don't see work, I'm giving you the answers. The answers are up here. You're stamping them yourselves. I don't have my work though. So I want to see your work, and you can make sure you're stamping each one up there. And then if you get done that right away, you can do your Delta math, and then you're ticket out the door. And that's it for today. Yeah. Does anyone want me to go over one more that is out of order? Like, do you guys see how 5 and 7 are written? Like, you can always rewrite it, like n minus n over 12, and the lunch tray is minus 4 equals negative 30. So you can go through and rewrite it, like negative 4b plus 4 equals 84. 8b minus 5 equals 83. So do you see how I'm rewriting it? And then you're going